arms race. All right, so a 4 mana sneak attack for 4 on an artifact card. Gains haste. Yeah. Sacrifice they be. I mean, this looks really good in this set. Yeah, surprising an opponent for 4 for something giant would be amazing. And this you can sacrifice, but if it has Unearth, that's really great. It'll depend on exactly the artifacts you have in your deck, but it's pretty good. And remember, what you can do to surprise your opponent is go to the end of their turn, right? If you don't need to block their thing, right? Go to the end of their turn, have the end of turn, right, start. Use this, right, to put something in play. The end of turn has already happened, so it'll stay in play until the end of your turn, and you can attack with it. Hey, Serby, how you doing? Welcome. We're doing a set review of Bro. Hey, Bro. So remember that is what you can do with this if you want to keep it around for your turn, right? But you want them not to know about it in advance, right? It gets haste anyway, right? But that means you don't have to sacrifice it until the next turn, right? So if they, for example, they have like other discard effects and things like that, you can make sure, like at EOT, it does things. I know it gets haste anyway, but still. It's a thing. It costs 4 rather than the 1 red that sneak attack costs, because sneak attack is ridiculous. And it only does artifact as opposed to creature, but there's so many artifact creatures in this format that it is really pretty crazy to be able to do that at instant speed, and there's many things with Unearth. So this is going to be a house of a card. I don't know exactly whether it's a high pick, but I think it's probably on the low end of high or in the medium end of high. There are some decks for which it's going to be the only thing you want, like the biggest thing you want, and you're going to rejoice when you see it. But until you get the artifacts for it, and I'm going to have to see what artifacts there are in the set, it's not going to take a place over some bomb or anything like that. Bitter Reunion. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. Okay, so that would be a way to trigger on the blue stuff or the black stuff that triggers when you draw an extra card, like a second card per turn. Sacrifice, you gain haste. That is another thing that you can sacrifice to that. There was a 2/1, remember, that gets +1/+1 counter for every time you sacrifice something. So this is something that can play off of that. For 1 mana, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So it's thrill, but not at instant speed. And then it has a later benefit of getting haste. So, yeah, or tormenting, yeah. Thrill of possibility or tormenting voice with upside. Except that it's not an instant or sorcery, so you're not getting any value off of playing instants or sorceries in particular. So it's not the card, like, it does trigger the prowess thing though too. So I do like this, yeah, and it also works with Unearth because you're discarding a card. So I think this card is more valuable than it looks at first glance. So I think this may be a high end of low card. Conscripted infantry. It may even make its way up to like low end of medium, but I really don't think. I hope not. I hope it's not that kind of format. But conscripted infantry, 3 mana, 3/1. When it dies, create it replaces with a 1/1. Yeah, okay. Not great. Still fine, right? It's effectively a 4/2 for 3. In sort of overall power that the opponent has to deal with. Um, Dwarven Forge Chanter, 1 and a red. So this is a low pick, but it's a high end of low, I guess. If you're soldiers in particular and aggressive, that's 3 minutes for 3/1. You can do better than that in red and white. Low. Dwarven. Well, it's me. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. This is gonna be a dependent card. Dwarven Forge Chanter 2/1/3 ward pay 2 life. Prowess. Oh, prowess. Okay. That's interesting. This card is probably better than it first looks. Absolutely. The ward pay 2 life plus the prowess. There was always that Kenra in Amonkhet that or Hour of Devastation that was a 1/3 prowess for 2. Now this one also has pay 2 life for ward to even target it. I do like this card. In the same way I liked that Kenra, but it has even more benefit. So if you're in that prowess deck, like we talked about with that blue, the blue-red prowess deck could be really quite explosive. Speaking of which, so, the more of those and the birds you get with prowess, and then you just go mono spells, I think that could really easily overwhelm the opponent very quickly. It's a build around a little bit for those, but it seems good. All right, 3 damage to any target, create a tap Power Stone token. Yeah, I mean, you're going to want to take that in red. It's going to be a medium pick. The max I can see it being is upper medium, because we've seen a lot, and the toughnesses don't tend to be that high. So there are a few, like, you don't want to see this with that, but like it's gonna kill something probably. And it's this Ghost Face. Okay, so this is a high medium pick, maybe even a low end of high. Yeah, because it Ghost Face. But I suspect high medium. High end of medium. Okay. Philology Chain Dancer, 4 mana, 2/4, gains double strike until end of turn. Okay, and you can play that with Power Stones, obviously. Double strike Human Soldier for about a 2/4 for 4. Have to invest the mana. I'm not hugely into this card, because it wants to be an aggressive deck, but I just don't think it's even aggressive enough. We'll see what the equipment looks like. But that's a low pick if the equipment's not great and if the equipment's expensive. Giant Cindermaw, 3 mana, 4/3, trample, players can't gain life! Ooh. I like this card. It's a pity it's not a dinosaur soldier. Because everything's a soldier in this damn set. All colors. Me. Okay. Yeah, I like this card. 3 mana, 4/3, trample. Seems good. Especially if the equipment's good. Mid. Oh, hi, Frostodon. Frostodon had Menace. It was a whole nother deal. Goblin Blast Runner, 1 mana, 2/1/2, gets +2/+0 as Menace as long as you sacrifice a permanent. Yeah, I don't think so. It goes in that permanent sack deck, but I think there's the potential to build a really powerful sack deck in Rakdos in this. But you really have to get all the cards. Frostodon was way better, yeah. But this is, if you can get like a bunch of these and a bunch of things to sacrifice, right? Lands or whatever, then there's going to be some crazy goblin thingies going on. Crazy goblin bits flying in the air. Okay. So, yeah. I think this is not necessarily a great limited card unless you really just get all the cards handed to you. But it's probably going to do something crazy with goblins. Alright, most goblins can light a fuse and run, but only the cleverest remember to drop the bomb. Horned Stone Seeker, 2 mana, 2/2, Menace, already great. Okay. What? Create a tap when it enters. Oh, when it leaves sacrifice. Okay. No, this card is great. I like this. This is very good. This is a very good card. This is a high medium pick slash low high pick, I think. This is a good card. It, unlike the other one that I was thinking produced a power stone on entry, actually does produce a power stone on entry. So that's lovely. Mishra Excavation Prodigy. All right, brother. 3 mana, 2/1 baby Mishra. Haste. It also loots. Whenever you discard one or more cards, add this. Artifact cards, add the red. It triggers only once each turn. Okay. Obviously the draw 2 deck really loves this. I think I still like black blue draw 2 better than I like red blue draw 2. But there's always a possibility. Oh, he rummages instead of loots. Right. Sorry. Yeah, discard draw versus that. So weaker overall. But can accelerate you a little bit. I still like the blue-black version of the draw 2 more, but this might be better with the graveyard synergy deck overall. Just to get things out faster. Meh. And it's hasty. It can activate the turn it comes into play, so that's cute. All right. I think that's a like solidly mid pick, but I'm probably going to be surprised by how good it is at some point. I will wait to see. Yeah, because it accelerates you on the turn it comes into play. You get 3 mana, so 4 mana if you can do it that same turn. Nets you a card in the graveyard plus 2 red. I don't know. Could be interesting. Mishra's Domination. As long as you control, it gets +2/+2. Otherwise, it can't block. So that's an attempt to give it a little bit of versatility. You can stop a creature from blocking and try and get in, or you can pump your own creature. I'm not a big fan of this one. Again, it's asking for a 2-for-1 on your own creature, and at the same time, making a creature not block is nice for aggressive decks. So I would want this in the red-white soldiers maybe. But again, I don't know that it's worth a space of a card. It's very low pick anyway, but the versatility on it is decent. Yeah. Onslaught 4, create 2 of these, or okay, yeah, the versatility on this is good. I like that one. I like that in the soldier deck. 2 colorless artifact creature tokens at instant speed is lovely. And or getting the trumpet blast is nice. So, okay. Again, not a high pick, but I think it would be a upper low pick. In the prowess deck, I think this would be a mid pick in the prowess deck. Because that's nice. Ooh, the prowess deck. Speaking of, okay, your signpost for the prowess deck is here. Monastery Swift Spear. Again, unless you have a dedicated deck, it's not that great. It's great and constructed, but unless you have a dedicated prowess deck, it's not as great as it should be. But like these two are a lovely little combination with the blue bird and the other red thingy up here, and obviously Excavation Explosion likes it. Where was the other red thing? I don't see it. All right. Anyway, Obliterating Bolts. So this is not a high pick unless you're already in that deck, I think. Obliterating Bolt, 1 and a red, deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker, sorry. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile instead. This is a high pick in red. Absolutely high. So it's just gonna need to happen. It's sorcery speed, which is kind of sad, but it's still just good. And it exiles instead of putting in the graveyard, which is huge for Unearth. So yeah. So this is something you have to pick high. So this is a a medium high level. It's not a bomb or an A tier bomb, but it is really premium removal for red. So, yeah. All right. Penregan Strongbull. Minotaur! I don't remember either. Look, it lifts people. His child lifting act was second only to his cauldron punting routine. Was he gonna punt the kids in the cauldron? I don't know. Anyway. 3 mana, 2/3, sacrifice it. It gets +1/+1 until end of turn and deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh man, this is gonna finish off some games annoyingly for me, but I think it's a low pick. It might be upper low because it's still, you know, definitely playable. Because once you have all those power stones on the board and you have nothing to do with them, it's a really nice way to like do 1 damage and make a giant thing to attack with. A couple, like 4 damage maybe, or 3 damage and make a giant thing to attack with. So very low pick, but still playable. Pyrrhic Blast, 4, and his additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice creature, deals damage equal to sacrifice creature. It's a giant fling plus draw a card. Isn't fling supposed to end the game? Usually. I mean, yeah, you can fling something at opponent, but usually, I mean, since so many things have unearth, yeah, you could probably use this to kill a creature and then get the value off drawing a card, I guess. But fling that strongbow. Yeah. I think this is gonna end some games. I don't think it's a very high pick. I think it's probably a mid pick, like middle of the mid, or maybe upper mid it'll end up being, but probably middle of the mid or lower mid. We'll see. Raise to the ground, 3. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target artifact if its mana value is 1 or less. Draw a card. So Shatter is more expensive now because it can't be countered. This may need to be played in this format in red. It may just have to happen because blue, if you come up against blue in red, there are so many ways that it just gets you, and your burn just might not go through. So you might just have to remove an artifact this way. It's not going to be a high pick, but you might actually eventually have to run it. In best of 1. So it'll be like your 23rd or 24th card if necessary. We may up that as we see the artifacts. 3 mana sorcery speed for Shatter. Rock Hunter, 2 mana reach, 3/1. Human Soldier. That's aggressive. You don't really want to be blocking reach when you're in the soldier deck. You just want to be attacking. So usually a 3/1 is a good power level to be attacking with. It's still it's a bit filler, but it doesn't really fit with any sort of thing that I would want though, really. Because I want the 3/1, but I'd rather have a different ability than reach, because reach is for a blocker usually. So, and you don't want to be blocking when you're going for this like red-white super aggro token soldier deck. So I mean, it's filler at 1 and a red 3/1. So fine, right? It's fine. You'll pick it so that you get a curve and attack, but I'm not really happy with this card. I don't understand the design of it. So we'll see where if it ever finds a home anywhere that's useful for this reach. So Sardian Cliff Stomper, 2 mana for an 0/4. As long as it's your turn and you control 4 or more mountains, it gets +X+O, where X is the number of mountains you control. 2 mana. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Sir Elgar. This looks good. And this is your reward for going mono red. This is very good. It can end a lot of games really fast if you curve out on mountains and you have some removal. So it's a good card. It's an upper medium middle pick if you already know you're sort of and if you already know you're mostly in red, it'll be a high pick. So like second pack, if you see it first, you might first pick it, maybe, depending on what else is in the pack. But like I don't see it first pack usually. I don't think that would be a good plan. Again, same thing. That's with the corrupt. Sibling Rivalry, 4 mana. I mean, still, if you only have 2, it's a 2/4 for 2, which is really good. Okay, maybe it's more of like a lower high pick even. So yeah, okay, still good. Okay, Sibling Rivalry, 4 mana, gains control of target artifact or creature. Oh, so it's threaten plus a Power Stone, sorcery speed. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's gonna fall into the same slot that every threaten effect already has been in. If you have a sacrifice deck, right, which we have seen, this is the card that goes in it. So there's going to be some craziness out there. It depends on the ratio of sacrifice outlets you have, right? Like his artifact or creature gain control of one of their artifact creatures, for example, or just an artifact, sacrifice it and send it. And there were more sacrifice stuff previously and rewards for sacrificing things. So like Thraxodemon here that the Power Stones can tap for, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of stuff. All right. So that's gonna fit the same mold. Sometimes it's just gonna end the game. Other times it's going to demoralize your opponent, and other times it's gonna be really demoralizing in your hand. So, Fall of Krug. 6. Choose target opponent. Destroy target land that player controls. Deals 3 damage to that player and 1 damage to each creature you control. Okay, so this is for the bigger red decks. It's, it's a little late, unfortunately, to stop, really early big, really early, like, go wide aggression, like from the soldier deck. But I think it's going to be necessary in some of the bigger red decks, whatever you're playing, whether it's pure red, which is unlikely because that'll probably be faster than this card than you would want to be to run this. But if you're like in a big Gruul deck or a big something, you may want this just so you don't get overwhelmed. But you got to make it to 6, which, if this format's pretty slow, sure, but it looks like the soldiers can do a lot of damage pretty quickly. So I'm not sure about this card making it into that deck even. So we'll see. Tomoko Scrapsmith, 3 mana, 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. You can put an artifact card from among the cards milled this way into your hand. If you don't, so this is the same thing. Yeah. I don't like this one very much. I think it's one of the weakest of them. I think the other stuff is better. So this is going to be filler, but it's going to be super filler, I think. All right. So like low end of low. Unleash Shell. 5 damage to target creature, planeswalker, and 2 damage to that permanent's controller. Okay, the extra 2 damage is not so bad for that 5 damage, and that 5 damage can target a creature or planeswalker. This is going to be the normal 5 mana kill spell in red. But it's going to have a little bit of an upside because it can target planeswalkers and will do that extra 2 damage. So it might get that final 2 in. So it's going to be like that fireball from AFR a little bit without the potential to do 2 damage to you. And it can hit I think fireball could hit planeswalkers, but yeah. So this is going to be a playable card. It's not going to be like, you don't want to pick 4 of these. It's too expensive for that. You don't even probably want to pick 3. 2, I think, is the maximum for this card. But you are probably going to want to pick 1 up if you're in not the purest of aggressive decks. You're gonna, if you have just you're gonna want to pick 1 of them up if you're if your curve doesn't max out at like 4, like many of the aggressive decks will. Whirling Strike, +2/+0 gains first strike and trample. Ooh, and trample for 2. Yeah, this might be playable. We'll see. It'll still be low, but it might be playable because it has the trample. Alloy Animist. 1 mana, 1/1 until end of turn, target non-creature artifact. Ooh. Okay. Seems good. Yeah, that's mid-range pickable. Absolutely. Argothian Opportunist, 3 mana, 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, create that. Okay, so it's an acceleration on a 3 mana, 3/2 body. Not exciting. It's just okay. So that'll be a low pick, but probably upper low as opposed, or middle low as opposed to lower low. Argothian Sprite can't be blocked by blah. Put 2 counters on it. That's cool. Wait, it's a fairy, but it's not flying? Sprites fly in Magic. God, I'm a boomer. Okay. Why isn't flying? I am very sad. This doesn't make sense. But this is the payoff. This is the, like, extra lots of mana payoff for the Power Stones that each of the colors seems to have. It's a green sprite. Do you know the Here, let me show you a green sprite, shall I? Shall I? Look, it's the original green sprite. Guess what it has? I rest my case. Anyway. So, should have flying. Anyway, moving along. But yeah, I mean, this is just, you know, eventually going to be a mana sink. I don't think it's as good as the other ones for mana sink. Yeah. You did, Jurgen? Yeah. Yeah. Me too. I actually had a deck that was white-green that, whenever a creature with 1/1 came into play, I always put like a couple counters on it, or I Pendelhavened it, or Pendelhaven Eldered it, and I just like, yeah, it was fun. And the sprites were a big feature of that deck. It's not Color Pie be damned. That was literally in like the first edition. Look, look. View all prints. Ready? Right? 4th edition here, right? Look, look, look. Collector's edition. Alpha and Beta. Literal first editions. All right, anyway, sorry. All right, Audacity. You have the audacity to question whether my sprites should have flying. Anyway. Enchant creature, it gets... Oh, wait, Rancor? Plus 2/+0 and trample. When it's put into a graveyard... Oh, you just draw a card. It doesn't come back. Okay. Meh. It's fine. It's no Rancor. I think it's a low-mid pick. Or a high-low pick. Alright. Blanche, like a high end of low. It's fixed Rancor. We didn't need to fix Rancor. Rancor was great. I know Rancor's busted. I love it. Blanchwood Armor. Oh, they reprinted Blanchwood Armor. +1/+1 for each forest you control. Yeah, that's its reward for going mono green, but this isn't as good as some of the others. Like, this is not as good as this for mono red. This is way better for mono red than this is for mono green. I believe. Because again, it's asking for a 2-for-1. This isn't as good as Corrupt is for mono black. So again, I'm not, and the draw effects I think are still better than this. This is best on a creature with trample, obviously, but they're already gonna want to kill that creature with trample. It could get there to end the game, absolutely, but it's an aura, so it's not gonna surprise them. I'm not really a fan of this being the card that rewards you for going mono green. I don't think this is a good reward for mono green. So yeah, I'm not impressed with this compared to the others. It's still a fine card in a green deck that has, you know, some forests in it, so you can play it in a deck that isn't mono green. It's just that, you know, it's a 3 mana card, and if you only have 3 forests, right, it's not great. Because again, asking for 2-for-1 is really rough. You really, if you're gonna be playing auras, they better be a huge reward. In limited. I'm greedy where auras are concerned. All right, Blanchwood. So this is not a high pick for me at all. Like, if I'm already in green, this gets past late, sure, maybe, right? But Blanchwood Prowler, and if there's a ton of tramples in here, which I saw one red trampler, which was pretty cool. This can give trample, but there's no way I'm going to be wanting to, like, combine these unless it's literally to end the game. So Blanchwood Prowler, 2 mana, 1/1. Oh, this is the mill 3. Put a land card. Okay, I like this card. I like this card a lot. I think this is a very good card. I think this is actually, because you can find a land, I think this is a very good card. I think I would medium pick this, actually. Because it mills, gets the unearth, potentially. You might be able to get a land and either fix or make sure that you hit your land drop. And land is the one you need the most. And if you just need a 2/2, you got a 2/2 for 2. It's still a grizzly bear fail case, right? So I think this is a good card. I would actually higher pick this than most of the other ones, not all of them, I think. But it's very good at a common. That's nice. I like this one. It can make hands keepable that wouldn't be otherwise as well. So I think this is a valuable card to have. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, more likely to hit a land than the other stuff necessarily, potentially, right? Plains on the 3-drop, no, still that's I mean, unless you're in mono white, that might be harder than you think. It's the creature one that I think is probably likely. If there was one, a creature. The black one was a creature, I don't remember. But anyway, this is a good one. I like that one. That's gonna be a mid pick, middle of mid or low mid, I think, or potentially there's I mean, depending on how many unearth you have, that's gonna be a high mid pick. Burrowing Razor Maw. No, it's not gonna be a high mid pick. This is never gonna be a high pick. It's just medium. Okay. Burrowing Razor Maw. I like revise these every time. It dies, mill 4 cards, 3 mana, 4/2. Okay. In the unearthed deck, you're gonna want these. I mean, 4/2 puts pressure on the board. 2 is, gonna trade with a lot of things, but when it dies, you mill the 4 cards. If you have the unearthed, that's really value. So it's gonna take out something, and it's gonna be, yeah. I like this. I even like this in the control decks because it can trade up with like a 4/4 that's attacking you or a 4/3 that's attacking you, and you can still get the value off the unearthed, right? So I think this serves multiple functions. It's still a low pick, but it's it's perfectly playable. Bushwhack. The bush whacked you. Sorry, and the art is good. Search the library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, or target. Okay, yeah. I mean, I like this is prey upon at sorcery speed, but it also has the opportunity to search for basic land cards. So I really like the versatility on this card. I think this is an upper mid to mid pick for green. So I like it. All right. Now on bucket list, right? Bushwhacking somebody with a brushwhack. Yeah. So. Citadel Stalwart, 1 mana, 1/1, tap an untapped artifact or creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. Ooh, there's fixing. Okay, we haven't seen many creatures that provide mana or fixing or anything like that, so this may be more useful than it looks. Let's see, for splashing and stuff, if you want to go mono and you get a couple of mono green and you get a couple of these, right, that may help you out. Or if you want to sort of accelerate, right? The Jaspera Sentinel, right? Was a 1/2. So there were certain decks that just really wanted this type of card. Though 2 toughness was pretty important though, and in this set you've seen a lot of like do 1 damage to all of opponent's creatures. So it's a little bit more. And the Jaspera Sentinel had reach. Was a 1/2 for 1 that had reach. For 1 green that had reach and elf synergies. And I mean, obviously this also has elf synergies, but I haven't seen any elf synergies overall with this. That set, Kaldheim had the synergies. But that, right, this can do artifact and creature. So it's a little bit more interesting in that respect because you can make the Power Stones produce color, for example. So we'll have to see how good this is. It's a little more vulnerable, but it is a little bit more powerful. So we'll see. It might be the only acceleration and fixing that you get. All right. Epic Confrontation, +2/+1/2, and fight strike a creature you don't control. Oh, it's like Savage Punch almost. Or was there something like that? Something like that. It's sorcery speed, though. That's annoying. These are both, the fights are sorcery speed. We'll have to see exactly how good this is. I'm going to suspect low, middle, or upper high. Sorry, upper low. The upper side of low. But it's never going to get really high, I don't think. Because, again, we're so used to this punches or or instant speed fight, or yeah, cons. It was the bear punch. Yeah, it was the bear punch. But it's not a punch, it's a fight. We just called it bear punch because it had a Sarkhan punching a bear, I think. Or did it not? No, Epic Confrontation was the worm picture. Yeah. Epic Confrontation. Here, hold on. Yeah, it was the worm picture. Hold on. Oh, yeah. It wasn't the punch. It was Epic Confrontation. It was this one. Yeah. No, he wasn't punching a bear. He was punching a worm. But the punch, the savage punch was he was punching a bear. Yeah, Sarkhan's punching all the things. Okay, sorry. Punch. He's very punchy. Oh, he's kicking the worm. Oh, okay, sorry. What? No, punch. That's a punch. That's his hand going up. He's uppercutting the he's uppercutting. That is not a leg. Look at his armpit. I don't know what your leg comes out of, but it's definitely no worries. It's probably really small on your screen. Oh man. But yeah, that's an uppercut. That's just he's got the full, but he's also leaving himself completely open, but you know. Yeah. Tighten up that protective arm here, hon. All right. So, all right. Excavation here. You create 3 tapped Power Stone tokens. You gain 3 life for 5 at sorcery speed. God, there's got to be something big in this. So on 5 mana, you then go to potentially 9. As long as it's an artifact or an ability. That doesn't seem good. That seems way too slow. Whoever's playtesting, though, feels that this is what it should cost. So let me see. I'm going to have to reevaluate this card. It looks unplayable to me. But I'm going to have to evaluate this card based on, you know, the strength of Power Stones later and what we see that costs a shit ton of money. Shit ton of Power Stone. All right, Fog of War, 2 and blah. You gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. Prevent all combat damage dealt by creatures with power 3 or less. I don't like fogs, period, usually. But the gain 1 life can really change the thing. The clock, the turns, basically, like an actual race. But it only prevents 3 or less. I mean, yeah, so this is good in a big green deck. Not good in anything else. So normally, I don't think I'd play this. I'm probably going to get got by it a couple times. It's good in the big green. It's basically big green's answer to aggression, like super aggressive decks. If you big green and you're like mono green, you're gonna want this card because you're gonna hit the aggro and you're gonna have nothing to do. That way you can gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. It can buy you time to put out something like this the next turn for something like that, potentially, right? To be like, I have to block your creatures now. But I don't like it. It's a very low pick. It's on the low end of low. But there are certain circumstances and certain decks that I can see playing maybe 1 copy of this. Or sideboard. Certainly sideboarding 1 copy in on a best of 3 if I'm in a big mid-rangey, big or mid-rangey deck, or and running green. So Gaia's Courser, 5 mana for a 4/5. When it attacks, if there are 3 or more creatures cards in your graveyard, draw a card. That's really good with the Black Mill and the 3 or more creatures cards synergies. I like that. Golgari is going to be a thing. So yeah. Yeah, Slimefoot can enable full domain, absolutely. But the Power Stone tokens can be turned into creatures by some cards. This isn't me. I'm gonna check out the rest of the stuff, so and we'll come back to it. But my intuition is that this is just not a good card. It's not worth the time. You're probably dead by then. If you spend 5 mana on this turn to do this, you're probably dead the next turn. Gaia's Gift, +1/+1 counter on target creature you control gains reach. What the pus bucket? Ooh, I like that trick. So this is the white one that we saw in Tamio's Epiphany, like, Tamio's whatever it is, for the not Tamio's Epiphany, that was the blue spell that scryed and drew cards. It's Tamio's Protection or whatever the heck, Tamio's thingy. For one green in Neo. So you don't, instead of gaining life again, like the white one that we had, it is 2 mana, but that does like praise basically everything. This is so good. So I like this. It's not only gets a counter, but it does everything else too. I really like that. Cool. I don't think it's a really high pick though. Okay. I should also untap it. Yes, it should. This is an upper low pick, but still a pick, like the white one. How'd you know? Giant growth. The best combat trick that you can have for the manas. I think I did have fun in Vegas. Thank you. Yeah, not a high pick, but still fun. And can potentially get you there. All right. Gnawroot Pallbearer, 6 mana, 5/5 trample when it enters. So here's a trampler for that thing, but it's 6 mana. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Yeah, okay, sure. But if there were something smaller with trample, I'd be so much more excited about this card. I think that combo's actually best, even though this is supposed to be in the black shell. I think this actually combos best with the 4/3 red trampler. This dude, that's the dinosaur. Just because that's like it's an early trampler, and then you play this, you get that trample and big and going, and so on and so forth, right? So I think that's better than, you know, the creature cards and graveyard thing. But it wants to be in a Golgari shell where you mill a lot and put creatures in the graveyard, and the graveyard creatures matter like this. But yeah, it doesn't seem to synergize that much with that. Whatever. It's still a 6 mana 5/5 trample, which is not bad stats, and it does give you do something to make something else attack the turn it comes into play. So it's not a horrid card, it's not unplayable, but it is a low pick for me. Hoarding Recluse, 4 mana 2/3 reach, death touch. When it dies, put up to one other target card from a graveyard on the bottom of it, so it can stop the unearth potentially. Nope, I still want to have 4 toughness. Look, it has a huge booty. How does it not have 4 toughness? Booty. For 4 mana? Like, I get that it has death touch. All right, this is a low pick. Ah, it's abdomen. Butt spider, yeah. It's for trading with flyers, not stopping them. Understood, but for 4 mana, it should still have 4 toughness and be harder to kill. Oh, look, it's obstinate. What? Power creep. This was a rare, people. When it was your age, it walked to school. Uphill, both ways. And it mowed the lawn with its teeth. God damn, I'm old. Okay. This was a rare. Yeah, that discard card in black is so awful now. Like, legit, just pure trash. So this card is good. This is a great card. This is a high mid pick. It was rare. Now it's not. So there you are. Yeah, boomer magic, exactly. All right, so I should just start gumming prunes. All right, anyway, Perimeter Patrol, 3 mana for a 3/3. Whenever an artifact gets +1 so until end of turn. Okay, yeah, 3 mana for a 3/3 is already fine stats for, like, Sendar Courser, right? In this, but it also has the upside of whenever an artifact enters, so it can become a bigger threat. it's filler, but it's still a good card. So so this is an upper low pick, or a, yeah, just upper low pick. So Sarenth Steelseeker, 2 mana, 1/2. Whenever an artifact, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, ooh, this if you can, if you don't put the card in your hand, wow, okay. So this is a really nice way to fill up the graveyard, right? For your, like, your unearthed things, or for the Golgari deck that cares about creatures in the graveyard. But it is also a really good card way to get value for lands, like the lands. This could be end up drawing you multiple cards, like 4 cards in a game, because an artifact is almost always going to be entering under, like, every other turn. You're going to probably have an artifact entering the battlefield in your control, potentially. So this looks like Quandrix Guildmage from Strixhaven. A little bit to me. This looks like it's gonna get that kind of value. Or the 1/3 one that got from Theros Beyond Death that found a, like, looked at the top 3 and found a land card every time you played an enchantment. Every time an enchantment entered the battlefield, sorry. So yeah, so this looks like a really high value card. I like this card a lot. I think it's an upper middle pick. Really nice. Okay. Shoot down for exile. It could even be like a lower high pick. It depends on your deck, I think. So probably, because it depends so much, it's probably going to be like, it depends if you're, it really depends. If you're green, you want it. But if you're not, it's not a splash card, I don't think. Maybe it is. And I don't mean splash. It's a 2-color deck card. I think it's a really good 2-color deck card. Yeah, it just ensures you hit your... Yeah, I like this card a lot. Like, you can keep hands that you wouldn't keep otherwise with it, like with this and an artifact and a couple lands. And yeah, okay. So it might be a low high pick, actually, a low end of high. It's really close. I don't think the Wayfarer, whatever it was Quandrix Pledge Mage could be, or like, quite a high pick though. So yeah, it's gonna be upper mid or lower high. Shoot down, exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with... I think this is gonna be a huge play. I think this is gonna be absolute... It's sorcery speed, which is kind of sad, and it is 4 mana, but it exiles. So I think this is actually gonna be, you run 1 or 2 of these in your best of 1 decks. And you just run it because there's so many artifacts, and you're gonna die to flyers most often if you're in green, and it kills artifacts, which most things, even the creatures, are. So I think this is gonna be good. Way better than it would normally be, right? Than a Broken Wings type effect would be, because it exiles number 1, even though it's 1 more mana and not at instant speed. But in this set, I think it's just going to be very powerful. And I think that's why it's costed this way. Okay, so Tawnos' Tinkering, 4 mana. Put 2+1/+1 counters on target artifact, creature, or land you control. Untap it. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 creature. Okay, so you can make it 2/2 land, or you can make something bigger. Or you can turn an artifact into a creature and put 2 counters on it. And you can untap something. This is a low pick. Although it can be used as a combat trick, right? You can attack with something like this 4/4, right? And then you can untap it and put 2+1/+1 counters on it and eat something for 4. It's going to be a combat trick that's really easy to see coming. So, because it's 4 mana, so you may want to be a little cautious with it, but it can eat an opponent's creature if they don't play around it. And if they can't play around it, great. So it's not unplayable, but it isn't a high pick either. All right, now we're getting into this. Okay, so Tomokul Honored Guard, 2 mana, 3/1 ward, human soldier. Yeah, I mean, that's better than the red version with reach, I think. So not enough counters. I mean, there were cards like that, I think, from Khan's Block or something like that. There was one card from that, like that, for Khan's Block, and it did do a lot of work. It's a little worrisome for a 2-for-1 if they have mana open, though. I know, the 3-1s with no Metal of I mean, Ward 2 is still something for a 3-1. I think I like this way better than the one with Reach. That's still value, right? If you like pump this up somehow, right? Ward 2 is way better than giving it Reach. So, yeah, seems okay. It's filler. So, it's a low pick, but it's still useful in a soldier deck. Aggressive. Yeah, no one wants to target a 3-1, but if you do pump it, it's okay. All right, so see, other soldiers you control get +1/+1. That might make it an actual threat. But that's a Bant. That's a Bant. That's gonna be hard. Why are soldiers blue-white? Anyway, Wasteful Harvest. So 2 and a green, mill 5 cards. You can put a permanent card from among the cards milled that way into your hand. Okay, so that's card selection and putting cards in the graveyard for the creatures in the graveyard synergies and the unearthed synergies. We haven't seen any unearthed though. Are all the unearthed uncommons or artifacts? Like, I haven't seen anything in all the colors. They must be in the artifacts. Anyway, so I can see this being Numot the Nummy's one of his favorite cards. They're an artifact. Okay, I can see this being one of Numot's favorite cards. It's gonna be fun. And it's a permanent, not just a creature. So it can be any artifact or enchantment or planeswalker or, you know, creature, etc., etc., etc. Blah. So this may see a little bit more play than you would think. It's not that bad. So, because it can get you multiple pieces of value. You can get one of the pieces back to your hand and the others can sit in your graveyard doing something or have unearthed and you can get future value. Or a land. Yes, if you really need one. Exactly. So it's a pretty versatile card. It's fine. And it's instant speed. It's a little pricey, but it's okay. Mulch is probably better. But this looks like a little bit of a slower format overall. I don't know. I think that the soldiers just overwhelm everything, but let's see. Yoshin Tactician, 3/4 for 4. Not great stats, but other soldiers get +1/+1. Having a lord is nice at uncommon. Evangelist, so yeah, I mean, you're going to take this and hopefully build around it, or if you already are in soldiers, you're just super happy to see this card. Evangelist Synthesis, Demir, 2/3 Phyrexian Human Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay, so it loots on entry. That's good for the draw 2 cards and the graveyard synergy cards. Haldir says hi, by the way. And +1/+0 menace. Okay, sure. I mean, it's useful. It's not as good as the Yoshin Tactician by any means. It's still good. Just like it's an odd bit of power like discrepancy here. All right. Junkyard Genius. 1 and a Rakdos. Okay. 2/2 enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token. Okay, that's already good. Not great. Sacrifice another art. Okay, so here's another recurring sacrifice effect potential. Until end of turn, all other creatures you control get +1/+1. So okay, I like this card. This card is very strong. I like this. This is high mid. Yeah, that's a really good effect for that deck. Even if you're not in the sacrifice deck, it's still good. So that effect is really, really nice. Okay. So yeah. Very high mid on this one. I like that one. This is mid or low. Well, yeah, mid or low mid. This is a upper mid, like this one, maybe a little higher even. Yeah, and it helps pay for itself a little with the Cat Tap Power Stone. Yeah. I just like the Mass Pump and Menace that can just end a game. So this is really good late game, right? Because basically, if you have 6 mana, right, you can just end the game by giving all creatures +1/+1 and gain menace. This is a very good card. It is so much better than this, and actually now I think it's actually on par with this. I think this card is very, very strong. Wow. Because this isn't just like you don't just do this once. You do it. Yeah, this is crazy cool. Anyway, so yeah, this is a high mid pick or low high pick. It's very good. It might even be like medium high. In if you're already in Rakdos. I don't think I would first pick it so highly, but if you're already in Rakdos, this is like the best card you can possibly see. It looks like as far as uncommons and commons go. Arbalest Engineers, 2/2 when it shoots. So choose, deals 1 damage to any target, put a +1 counter target. Yeah, okay, this is really versatile. I like this card. This is a high mid pick. Yeah, that's really versatile and I like it. I haven't seen any flicker effects. Are there any flicker effects? Does anybody know? I mean, it can just target itself and give it, it can be a 3/3 trample haste, or you can get a power stone token and ramp, or you can kill a creature like this one, except for you have to pay 2. But yeah, I like this card because there's so many 1 toughness things on this thing. And I also like it because it's very, very versatile. Okay. So not quite as good as this, but still good. Yes, still good. Okay. Yoshin Dissident. Whenever an artifact, put a plus... Okay, that's really good. It makes sense for that to be really good because traditionally green-white is not very strong together, depending. But this is a very nice card. I like this a lot. I would, in fact, hold this. Don't play it out on 2 because, again, like I said, there's so many things that deal 1 damage to any target that I would actually hold this until you could play an artifact at the same time, potentially. A cheap artifact, but we'll see. But yeah, good card. Good card. These are both good cards. Pickable early. So really high mid picks or low high picks. And then this is so good. This is so good. I think this is a low high pick. Hero of the Dunes, 5 mana, 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, return target artifact or creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. And it pumps your team? Holy shit. Okay. Yep. Very, very good card on the level with all of these 3 are kind of on a level, and this is just slightly above. Just slightly. Just because this ends so many games so fast at the end. Like, this is gonna kill me so many times. Okay, next one. Third Path Iconoclast. When you cast... So this is Prowess, create a 1/1. Not Prowess because it doesn't get +1/+1, but when it's like... So it's non-creature spells do this. Yeah, seems good. That's very, very good. So for the spells deck, that's excellent. So all of these are pretty high picks. Again, that highest still for me. Skyfisher Spoods. 4 reach 3/3 when it enters you can sacrifice another creature when you do towards whoa yeah, I like this card. This card is excellent in its deck. Nice removal. When it dies, gain you 1 life for each creature card in graveyard. Do you exile it? Okay. Yeah, it's a hard to cast, young Peasy. But it's non-creature rather than, Wait, PC's instants and sorceries, right? Wait, hold on. Now how am I blanking on PZ? Yeah, instant sorcery. Okay. Alright. Yeah, this card is very, very good. Removal on a stick is so nice. Yes, you have to sacrifice another creature, so it is a little bit contingent on that. So I think it's not quite as strong as most of this. But it's almost on that level. This is really weak compared to the others. I mean, it is 2 mana, 2/3, sure, so that's great stats, and the draw discard is really good in this format. But Soulstone Menace, like, it's a good card. It's a very good card, but compared to these, it strikes me as pretty weak. All right, Vanguard. 4 mana, 2/3, first strike, Boros. Okay. Oh, that effect is really strong. Target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn whenever it or another creature. That's a very strong effect in limited. I don't think it's as good as some of these others, but it's still fine. for its deck at 2/3 for a first strike, I think it's a little bit behind most of these. But it's still very good. All right. Battery Bearer. I mean, 4 mana for... Yeah, If you can keep playing creatures, it's a 4/3 first striker. Compounded is super fun. All right, Battery Bearer, 4 mana, 3/4. Whoa. Okay. Add blah. Can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. That seems pretty strong. All your creatures are power stones. Whenever you cast an artifact spell with mana value 6 or greater, draw a card. That's not going to happen that often, most likely, in a limited format, unless you want to die to aggro. It's still a 3/4 for 4, which is not bad stats, and then it can ramp you to big artifacts or to those mana sinks that we saw at common in each of the colors. So there will be times where you want this in a deck, but you kind of have to build around it or have already built around it, like to build a deck that really just wants it, and that's going to be a little harder. So the next artifact, okay. Combat Thresher, 7 mana, 3/3 prototype. You may cast this spell with different mana cost, color, and size. It keeps its abilities and types. So it's a 7 mana, 3/3 double strike. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Okay. Or for white, so 2 and a white, it's a 1/1 double strike. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Yikes. All right, so this is their version. This is cool. So they have the original mana value while checking for the effect of the prototype cost. So, okay. So if I cast this for its prototype cost, whenever you cast an artifact spell with mana value 6 or greater will trigger. No, because it says different mana cost, right? Okay. But it is like okay, so you're saying just that it is a big mana, it's a big artifact, right? So prototype cards have this mana value. It says different mana cost, right? So it has this mana cost when it's on the stack. If you paid this, is that correct? When cast as prototype spell, that spell has the mana cost, power, and toughness characteristics shown in its colored secondary box rather than... Okay. Its color and mana value are determined by that mana cost. The permanent that spell becomes as it resolves has the same characteristics. If the spell leaves the stack in any other way, it immediately resumes using its normal characteristics. Okay. So on the board, it has this as well. Once you choose to do it for this, unless it leaves the stack somehow, in which case it will revert to this. On the board, it'll be this. On the stack, it'll be this, etc. Okay, got it. Okay. And its color identity will be this. Okay. Oh yeah, Flicker would be so mean with this. Jesus. Well, yeah, if you blink it, it's going to come back as the 7/3/3 double strike blah. Yeah, the downside of playing a lot of expensive cards is lower. So this card does increase in value. Absolutely. Okay. Again, Simic tends to be a little bit weaker often in sets because its removal is a little bit weaker. It's more dependent. It's blues removal, which is often more tempo-y than true removal, and green removal, which is often more situational because you need bigger creatures to fight. And we didn't see a punch yet, so. All right, this card is silly. I would definitely run it in any white deck. I probably wouldn't run it in anything but the Simic deck that has this card. 7 mana is a lot for a 3/3 double strike, but it does get a card. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would run it in a deck with white, and in a deck with this. And the Power Stones are here to pay for this stuff too. Okay. Scrapwork Cohort, 4 mana, 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, could a 1/1 blah, unearth this. I don't like it. I don't want to pay 4 mana for a 3/1, even if I have Power Stones to do so. I know it has unearth. I don't. There are going to be some times where you're like, I just need to cast an artifact spell every turn. Where we saw with like the artifact, you get a land or something from the, you know, it's. But I'm not a huge fan of this. It's a 3/1. You get a 1/1 with it, but like you get effectively 4/2 worth of stuff, but for 4 mana, that's not great. Yes, it's an artifact and it has unearth. I don't think it's a high pick for me at all. I think it's probably a low pick. I think you can do a little better, probably. Is my intuition here. It is a soldier though. Hold on. Itself is a soldier as well. I think it depends on how many artifact-based synergies you have in your white deck, or white soldier deck. And the unearth is interesting. Tocasia's Onulet. 5/4/4. When it leaves the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Unearth. Yeah, that's pretty value. So that's a low pick, but it's still, these are both playable, but low picks. Veteran's Power Blade, 3 equipped creature gets blah, equipped soldier. This, yeah, I mean, I can see that being used. It's a low pick for me still. Once it's on the board, it's quite good, but like, Bone Splitter, I'm missing. Okay. Yoshin Frontliner, 1/1/1. Whenever it attacks, another target creature goes with blah. And it's a soldier. Yeah, I like this card. So this is a mid pick. I think it's middle of the mid or lower mid, but it's good. Combat Courier, 1, attack 2, sacrifice to draw a card. That's good in the draw, like an extra card deck, because you can especially unearth it. So that's 2 versions of the being able to draw a second card per turn. So I actually think that that's an upper low pick for that. For that deck, it's probably actually like an upper low pick. For anything else, it's probably a lower pick. Depth Charge Colossus. It is a very cheap courier thingy. So, Depth Charge Colossus, 9/9/9, prototype 4 for a 6. Doesn't untap. Oh, pay 3 to untap it. That can be actually useful. 6 mana for 6/6 on an artifact here is not bad. In this, that and the fact that you can, yes, it usually seems like it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to pay 3 to untap something where it doesn't untap for free during your upkeep. But being able to untap something at will that late in the game is actually pretty cool. Give it Ursat's Vigilance, for example. I actually think that's pretty neat. So that's an upper low pick, but it's still low. But it's still useful, I think, especially in blue control. Hulking Metamorph, 9/7/7. Holy mother, that has text. Okay. Okay. Oh, you could put this in the sacrifice effect too, even if you didn't want to unearth it for blue. It'd be interesting. It's a cheap artifact too, so this may go up in my estimation. I still think it's an upper low pick for that particular deck though. Pacific Rim. All right, let me read this sucker. 4 mana for a 3/3 that you may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of an artifact creature you control, except it's an artifact creature in addition to its other types. And its power and toughness are equal to Hulking Metamorph's power and toughness. Okay. So you can play it as a 3/3 and it'll become a copy of something else, for example. So if you wanted to play it as a 3/3 version of something with a cool ability, you could. Or it's a 9 mana 7/7 that can be a 7/7 version of something else. It's versatile. It has to be you control. Seems okay. Not heavily excited about it. Low, mid to upper low pick currently. Spotter Thopt. Oh, it could be a 3/3 flyer. That's nice. Okay, so that seems nice. Okay, so this is a little bit higher now. 4 mana 2/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, scry X so scry 2. It's okay. Still mids. Mids. Astronaut's Harvester, 2 mana 3/1 when it attacks, exile target card. Yeah, that's actually going to be quite useful. And an Unearth. Very nice. Okay. I like that card. I think that card is good. So, still middle of the mid. Clay Revenant 1/1/2 enters tapped. Return it from your graveyard to your own your hand. So it's like that skeleton. It's the skeletons. Okay. But it's nice in the sacrifice deck because you can keep getting back and keep sacking. As long as you have the time to do so. So this is gonna be a low pick, but there are cards with which it has synergies. Dredging Claw 2 +1/+0 and Menace. Equip 2. Whenever a creature can enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may attach this to it. That's fine. I like it on that flyer that brought a creature back from the graveyard according to its power and was the draw 2. Got +1/+1 counter every time you drew 2 in your turn. So draw your second card for the turn. Goring Warplow, 6 for a 5/4 death touch, but you can also, oh, this is nice. I like this card. That's versatile in a way that I like, and it's the what you pay for it is worth it. Yeah. Okay, so this is an upper low end for me. In a black deck. Scrapwork Rager, 4 for a 2/2 when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose life. So it's 1 more expensive than a Phyrexian Rager, but it is an artifact and it does have Unearth. Yeah, seems good. Upper low. Maybe it climbs to lower mid. In my estimation, with the artifact synergies. But 4 for a 2 is just a little rough, even if you draw a card and lose a life. Transmogrant Altar, 3, pay a red. Oh. This is very good. This is super good in that sack deck. Wow. You mean Ashnod's Altar at home? This is very, very good. For that particular deck. This would be a high pick for so an upper medium or lower high pick, as long as you knew anything about whether you were going to be in that sack deck. It's still pretty, or in black at all. It's still really good. All right, so that's really good. Okay, Blitz Automaton, 7 mana, 6/4 haste, or 3/2 haste for 3. Yeah, middling. So that's a upper low pick or low pick or yeah. Meh. Dragon Engine, 8 for a 5/5 with a 2 mana fire breathing effect. Or 3 for a 1/3 flyer with a fire breathing effect. Oh, this one's good. I like this one. Okay. Yeah. That's a middle pick. Potentially upper mid. Heavyweight Demolisher, 7/8/6 Menace. Beginning of your upkeep, tap it unless you pay 3. I don't like this one. Nope, I don't like that one. I think there's too much going on there. That's make that a low pick. Yeah. It's not unplayable. Maybe it's close to unplayable compared to all these other artifacts, I think. Yeah, but you effectively pay 10 for that. Eh. Mishra's Juggernauts, 5/3/5, attacks each combat available, trample, unearth. Yeah, low pick. Mishra's Research Desk, 1 for 1 and tap. Exile the top 2 cards in your library, choose one of them until the end of the turn, you can play that card. Alright, this is just, you're gonna, if you have like, I need to be casting an artifact every turn, I would run this. So artifact, pure artifact synergies, you're actually gonna want to run this card. Exactly, Cibola, yeah. I don't think this is a thing. Especially with like a 3-mana artifact destruction spell. Or the 4-mana artifact exile. It just, that's too much to pay. So yeah, this one's going to be a lower pick for me unless I absolutely just need to be casting an artifact every turn. Yeah, Sacrifice Synergy might want this card, absolutely. So if it's Rakdos Sack, that would be good. Scrapwork Mutt, 2/2/1, enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Yeah, I like this card. I like any card that's gonna let you rummage and get the artifact synergies and do that twice. Again, it allows you to keep certain hands that you wouldn't normally, and it just has the artifacts. So I like this card. I think this is an upper low pick. Boulder Branch Golem, 7 mana, 6/5. You gain life equal to its power, so you gain 6. Oh, I like it. And a 4 mana gain 3. Yeah, this one's utility. That's nice. That's an upper low. Okay, I like that one. Cradle Clear Color Cutter, rather. 6 for a 3/6 prototype. 6 for a 3/6. Add an amount of. Whoa. Okay. So 3 mana for a 1/3. Mana Dork. And then you can also accelerate quite a bit for a 3/6 for 6. It's not like it's lower mid, I think. But I think it's good. Yeah, you can cast it for a 1/3 and buff it from outside with like an with the sadness that is like Power Blade or Dredging Claw. But I think it's mid. I don't think it's high or high mid. Haywire Might, 1 mana for a 1/1. When it dies, you gain 2 life. You can sacrifice it. Exile target non-creature artifact, non-creature enchantment. Okay. There's some versatility there, especially in the sacrifice deck or in the creature, the Golgari graveyard creature synergy stuff. So I think this is way better and constructed, but it's still good. I think it's an upper low pick though, probably. I mean the non-creature enchantment, if they have the like sneak attack for artifacts, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. All right. Iron Crusher. 4 mana for a 2/5. When it attacks, target attacking creatures plus. Oh yeah, that's good. And 7 mana 4/6 when it does it. Yeah, I like this one. This one's a mid pick. The Might eats the white enchantment removal. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it seems decent. Yeah. So maybe that's a lower mid pick as opposed to an upper low. Yeah, I think I can revise it based on remembering that there is white enchantment based removal and blue enchantment based removal. So, okay, all right, sold. Mask of the Jade Crafter, 2 mana. Sacrifice it. Create an XX blah. And unearth. Yeah. If you need an artifact coming into play every turn, this is versatile. I don't like paying 2 for nothing to happen the first turn, so you really do need the artifact synergies. But you can pay X and create the golem. That's a second artifact coming to play. And then later on, you can unearth it and then make another one. So I think if you have artifacts coming to play synergies, you absolutely want this card as long as you can pay the green. All right, Rust Goliath, 10 mana for a 10-10 reach trample, prototype 3/5. That's ambitious. I think that's a low pick. But a 3/5 reach trample for 5 is not bad. Spoods, it's like a spooder. So, okay, wait. So I actually think this is higher than I thought it was because there are actually a lot of flyers in blue with a prowess that you really do want to kill. So this might actually be this is probably actually a low mid to up, sorry, an upper low, like the mammoth spider in so mammoth spider from Dominaria, the original Dominaria. This might actually be an overperformer in this because it does have the prowess flyers. So I think you might actually want this more heavily than I first thought. I forgot it had reach here. But yeah, so I think this might be higher. Aeronaut's wings, +1/+0 and flying gains. Yeah, I think this might be also very important because there are a lot of flyers that you really just have to deal with, and there's a lot of decks that don't have any ways to deal with them other than aggression. And if you don't have, if you're not on the play and you don't quite get that curve out, the flyers might just eat us all. So I think the Aeronaut's wings may be important. It also pumps stuff, and I think pumping in this set is really important because there's a lot of stuff that deals with its own power and having an effect with its own power. So I actually do like this, just like I liked it with Kaldheim. I think that might be important. So I think it might be higher on the list than it normally is. So it might be an upper low pick, or even like on the lowest end of medium. So, Argivian Avenger, 6 mana, 5/5. Until end of turn, against -1, gains your choice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, sure. It doesn't gain lifelink, which is kind of the sad part because I think that would actually take over the game potentially. But I think it's good. It's decent. I think it's a low mid to mid pick, but there we go. Coastal Bulwark is a 2 mana 1/3 defender. Gets +2/+0 as long as you control an island, and you can pay 2, surveil 1. Interesting. Yeah, make it smaller to give more keywords. Exactly. I was hoping it had lifelink though. I think lifelink might make it too strong though. But yeah, and it can't gain first strike, so that death touch is still not broken. But all right. Bulwark seems to be serviceable, but not. But Surveil puts stuff in the graveyard, so that's. It will have some synergies. And I don't think I would play it outside of a blue deck. But it can stop you from getting overrun by the aggressive decks while you fill up your graveyard. If like blue-black, I think wants this most because the black creatures benefit the most from having the creatures in the graveyard. And the blue creatures will benefit from the surveil, and for the flyers will benefit from the time that this buys you against an aggressive deck. So I think this is pretty good for that deck. I still think it's a very low pick, but it's a pick. Energy Refractor. 2 for when enters the battlefield, draw a card, add 1 mana of any color. So it's not a Prophetic Prism because you have to pay 2. But it is fixing, and it does replace itself, and it is an artifact. So again, artifact synergy cards may actually want this because they want to be playing an artifact card every time, and it does replace itself, and it does fix the mana, so it can help you go a few other colors. I don't think I would pick this as highly because it's 2, add 1 mana of any color. Prophetic Prism so much better. But if you're desperate, you can use it. So it's a low pick. Very low. Goblin Firebomb. 1 flash, 7, destroy target permanent. Okay. In the sacrifice deck. I mean, if you're that can be paid with Power Stones. So I think this might see play. It might actually be on the high end of low as opposed to just unplayable. Which is a huge jump for what it would normally be. Levitating statue. Flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Becomes a 1/1. Ah. I like it. That's cute. Yeah, I like that. That's a mid unless you're in the prowess deck, in which case you're actually going to probably want to take that pretty highly. So it's upper mid or even lower end of high if you're in that prowess deck. That sounds great for that deck. Mine Worker, 2 mana, 2/1. You gain a life if you control creatures named Power Plant Worker and Tower Worker. Oh, the Urza lands. Harken back. Okay. All right. So you can gain lots of life. I haven't seen any life gain synergies yet, though, like where you get bonuses for gaining life. Let me know if I'm wrong and I've missed something, but I don't think I've seen anything yet. So, but let's see what the combination is before I rate them individually. You kind of have to rate them together. There are none? Okay. 2 mana, 2/1. Not great stats. Tap to gain a life. Okay, sure. But maybe you gain 3 life if you get these. 5 mana. 3 gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Gets... Oh, put 2/+1 counters instead. Okay. Oh, man. I'm going to want to build this deck at some point. Where's the next one? There's the Tower Worker. 3 mana, reach, 1/3, add blah, add instead. Okay, all right. I'm gonna definitely want to build around those at some point, and I'm gonna lose so hard because they're still, I don't think, worth it. I mean, they're not awful. They're just not exciting. Even together, they're kind of like, okay. They do feed each other, right? Because if you have all 3, this one can provide the mana to power this one, and then you're gonna just gain some life. I'm gonna do it for memes at some point, I promise you. I don't think it's that strong. So, Reconstructed Thopter, 3 mana, 2/1 flying, unearth 2. Yeah, I mean, still fine, especially when flying's at a little bit of a premium here, it looks like in this set. It's fine, especially if you can pump it with equipment or anything like that. But I'm not as excited about it as I am about this. This one's way better. Okay. Slagstone Refinery, 4 mana. Whenever it or another non-token artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield or is put into exile from the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone. I don't like it. It's too much work. 4 mana, do nothing when it comes into play? No, thank you. Spectrum Sentinel, protection from multicolored. Whenever a non-basic land enters... But this is pushing the single colored. Anyway. Whenever a non-basic land enters the battlefield under opponent's control, you gain 1 life. That's not going to be as good in Limited as it's going to be in Constructed under any circumstances. Meh. Not a high pick. Steel Exemplar, 5 mana, 4/4 trample, enters battlefield, 2 +1/+1 counters on it unless 2 or more colors. Oh, so this is another reward. So it's a 6/6, 5 for 5 mana trample if you are in monocolored. Okay. So this is the artifact reward for going monocolored, which is cool. It's not super exciting. That's good stats. 5 for a 6/6 trample is good stats. So it's probably worth running if you're mono, but it's not going to be a high pickup because you gotta wait for it to happen. A 5 mana 4/4 trample artifact is not too terribly exciting. Seems fine, just not good. So like upper low or really low mid But if you are already certain you're going to be monocolored and you want to prioritize monocolored, then this is a fine card to pick up in mid. Stone retrieval unit. 4 mana 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, create a tapped power stone token. Okay, so it's a 4 mana 2/3 that accelerates you for artifacts and abilities. It's not a high pick. That's a low pick. But it is 2 artifacts coming to play for 4 mana. So again, some decks are going to want it a little bit more highly than that, but it's still never going to get to be a medium pick, I don't think, ever. Even the lowest end of medium. Suchi Cave Guard, 8/8 Vigilance, Ward 4. When it dies, add... Oh, this is the Suchi? Okay. When it dies, add 8 mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose mana as steps and phases end. Oh, that fixes Suchi's ability a little bit. I think 8 for an 8/8 Vigilance is, unless you really just create a butt ton of Power Stone shards, is just too much to pay. So much artifact destruction for so little. But the Ward 4 is nice. It doesn't have trample though at all, so I don't know. I don't like this as a high pick at all. I think it's low, middle, or even high low. Supply drop 3 flash enters the battlefield target. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's an artifact. Oh, it's an artifact combat trick. I like it. 4 and sacrifice to draw a card. I actually like this card. I think this is good. I think this is a an upper low pick. That's kind of nice. Cool. Not only gets you artifact synergies when it comes into play, but you can also potentially kill something. It's a nice combat trick for 3. And additionally, later on, you can sacrifice it either in your sack deck or anything like that, or just to get value off of it to draw a card. So yeah, it's a low pick still. It's in the lows, but it's an upper low as opposed to like a mid low or lower low, I think, because it's because it, as an artifact based deck, right? Base set, that synergy is very, very important, and also to have that combat trick in artifact form is cool. Swift Gear Drake 5 for a 2/4 flying haste. When it enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target card from a graveyard in the bottom of its own. So this is still hating on the unearthed stuff. I don't like this one very much. I think that's a lot of mana to pay for a 2/4 flyer haste, but probably middle of low, as opposed to like completely unplayable. Symmetry Matrix 4 mana. Whenever a creature with power equal to its toughness enters the battlefield under control, you may pay 1 if you do draw a card. Ooh. That'll reward you for all the little 1/1 artifact tokens. But it is 4 mana, not impacting the board. So it'll remain to be seen how good that is. There are a lot of creatures, artifact creatures with power equal to their toughness, so well, we'll see. I still think that's a lot to do nothing on 4 for this set, potentially. So my suspicion is this is going to be an upper low pick or a lower mid. Thrawn Power Suit. +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and has Ward 2. So it automatically gets +1/+1 for 2 mana and has Ward 2. I like this card. I like this card. I think it's a lower mid card, most likely. I think it's worth. I don't think you're necessarily going. Its base case is enough for me to play it. I think I'm not gonna prioritize auras or other equipment for it necessarily. But I think it's worthwhile. Just pumping some of the flyers that we've seen is really kind of key. And it's not too terribly expensive to equip, and the Ward 2 does matter in this set, I think. The removal that I've seen is very expensive, usually. Except for the one that gets, the black that gets cheaper for each card in the graveyard, and the red that does 4 damage, and exiles. So, there's the Tower Worker. We've got the lands. That is the end, I believe. Oh, there's a Demolition Field. Oh, okay, and a few other things. Okay, Demolition Field... Add 1 colorless, 2, sacrifice it to destroy... Wait, what? Isn't this just Field of Ruin? Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of removal. There seems very low removal in this, which is concerning. Destroy target non-basic land. Isn't this is this Field of Ruin, or was Field of Ruin any land? Oh, that land's controller may search. And you may search. It's the same thing. They just decided to do. Oh, it's fixed for commander. It's Field of Ruins fixed for commander. That's what it is. So you and that player get to search for a basic, but this means that another. Yeah, okay. So this is Field of Ruin fixed for commander. I see. I like it. It'll go in some of my commander decks, I think. Cool. Okay. Evolving Wilds, we all know, and Takasia's Dig Site. Add a colorless or pay 3 tap surveil 1. I don't really like that card. But if you're in a monocolored deck, I think it's absolutely worth putting in. Because the surveil 1 for 3 and tap is like kind of like the Strixhaven lands, the campuses where you could pay 4 and tap it to scry 1. Surveil 1's better with Unearth. The problem is that this doesn't produce 2 colors. It only produces none. But it is an artifact-based deck, so that's pretty good. But I would hesitate to run this in a 3-color deck. I think that it is a fine, like a really good inclusion in a mostly monocolored deck, or like with a very, very light splash, or a monocolored deck. Absolutely, I would run it there. I think it's really tough to run that in a 3-color deck. So, all right. So I think that is all of the uncommons and commons. Damn. So we'll do the rares and mythics coming up technically today. Because we have the early access on Thursday. So we better get those rares and mythics in. All right, so yeah, okay. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. Obviously, things are going to be different from what I see based on the speed of the format, how it plays out. The removal looks a little light, so there's going to be a lot of jockeying of creature worth around that. I'm not sure whether that will make the games, the aggro stronger than it should be with the hand smoother in best of 1. If removal's especially light, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So, Ekadon, thank you so much for the follow. So yes, so that's the uncommon and common limited set review there. Take it as you will, evaluate the cards for yourself. Now that we have the bigger picture, you know, certain cards that I would go back and say, okay, maybe this is worth running or not worth running at all. Now that we know which artifacts include there and how much unearth there is. And there's a little less unearth than I expected, actually, when we started seeing the like mill cards. So I am not sure how that's going to go. My instinct usually at the start of any particular format is to run the aggro. If it's there. If it's available, I'll run the aggro. So my instinct on this one is either black-white, black-blue, or black-red. I don't think the white-green or the white... is the white-green is as strong. But that's my initial instinct, but I really do want to have fun with the prowess deck, which I think obviously is still best in red-blue. And eventually I do want to have fun making those Urzas, the Tron things work. It's not going to work. It's going to be awful, but I might do it anyway for the lols, I think. So yeah, that'll be interesting.